deciding that you want to pursue a career in tattooing is already a big step. You know, just knowing what you want to do or you might want to do with your life, and if that includes tattooing, is a very exciting prospect. But it's hard to get started, to know what the first steps are. And usually it's an apprenticeship, but they are very hard to get and it takes a lot of time and patience and hard work. I hope in this video I can give you some tips on how to get started, how to get an apprenticeship, and tell you a little bit more about my own experience. The first disclaimer that I want to make before starting the video is that as much as you are looking for an apprenticeship, studios are also looking for apprentices. And you know, there are a lot more demand for apprenticeships than apprentices, since there are a lot of people looking to learn. But still, you should only accept apprenticeships if you feel like the place will be a good place and a good match for you. I made the mistake of maybe accepting an apprenticeship that wasn't right for me. So only go to studios where you know that you'll have a positive experience, or at least you expect to have a positive experience. And if by any point during your apprenticeship you feel like you're unsafe, you feel like if it's not the right place for you, if you feel like you're not learning, then you're not obligated to stay in any bad situation at all. So be mindful of that at all times when looking for an apprenticeship. My first tip when getting started is to just draw and study art and develop your style every day. I know that some days are very overwhelming and it's obviously not feasible to just sit down and draw. You know, we all have our problems, difficulties, and everyday issues that come up. But I feel like you should at least get in a routine of sketching, doing small sketches, small drawings, just so that you can get a taste for what it is to actually work as a full-time tattoo artist. Because I feel like right now I draw mostly for clients. And if I have a client tomorrow, the other day, I have my whole week full. I have to draw no matter what. If I'm inspired, if I'm not inspired, I have to draw. So just getting used to that type of routine is very useful right at the beginning. If you feel insecure with certain drawing techniques, go back to the basics. I know I did that. During my first years and even up to my fourth year, I still took anatomy lessons online. I still bought anatomy books or drawing books, anything like that. And I feel like that's something that I'm gonna keep doing always. But at the beginning, especially because you still have that precious free time that you probably won't have as much once you start working full-time as a tattoo artist. And I look back on those years when I was just drawing for myself and allowing myself to be creative and to explore my style and other styles and just, you know, try to find myself where I fit in the world of tattooing. So just have fun with it. Try to do it every day and I promise you, you'll see a lot of improvement. My next tip is to actually get to know the styles of tattooing that are out there. A lot of people nowadays develop their own style, as I did it myself. But just so you know that these styles take a lot of inspiration from the more established tattoo styles. I feel like, for example, my work takes a lot from old school. Maybe you wouldn't guess it just by looking at it, but the way that I draw lines, the way that I saturate color, these are techniques that I got from watching people who do old school. It's important not to discard any style and think, oh, this is not for me, I'm not interested, because to be honest, you can learn something from every single tattoo art style. And it's very vital, especially in the beginning, to get to know them and try to learn from every single one of them. The next thing that I would suggest you to do is to just go out and get tattooed. Find people that inspire you, that you feel like you could learn from. Go get tattooed by them and ask questions. I actually never mind when people ask me questions. And I know that if you don't know much about tattooing, there are not many questions to ask, right? I remember that my mom used to tell me before preparing for exams in high school, if you don't know anything about, I don't know, pancreatic surgery, you won't have any questions to ask about it, right? You just have no idea. You have no knowledge in order to form questions on. And I understand that this can be tough, just like, oh, go to a tattoo artist and ask questions. So this comes back to the studying part of the video. Try to learn about the different needle groupings, different techniques, try to learn about the different types of machines, try to have some basic knowledge before you go and get the experience of getting tattooed, so that when you're there, you know the right questions to ask. You can ask about their technique, the needles they're using, the machine, but it's also, I think, a very good thing to ask about their day-to-day life. How they draw, how they feel, how they interact with clients. These are valuable lessons that you can learn from these artists that just go beyond what brand of needle do you use. The next thing you should do is to create a portfolio containing all of your best work. And let me tell you something. It's always better to have, even if you're a digital artist, you would draw mostly on digital, which I know nowadays is becoming a lot more common. I draw digitally myself. But even if you're a digital artist, print all your designs on a nice sheet of paper, put them into a folder or a beautiful book, and, you know, have it all as a physical object. That is so valuable. I really want to make a video showing you my tattoo portfolio. I organized everything, printed everything, put it on a nice sheet of paper, a nice folder, and I think that really helped me stand out, actually. I remember when I went to ask for apprenticeships, the studio owners actually told me, oh, I'm sorry, we're not looking for apprentices right now, but your portfolio is so beautiful, so great, I'm sure you're gonna get an apprenticeship. They would like compliment me just for the organization of my portfolio. Like not even just the drawings, just, you know, the presentation. So I feel like paying a little bit of attention to the presentation of your drawings is so important. The next thing sounds kind of obvious, but is to create social media pages for your work. And not just social media, you know, obviously you should have an Instagram, you know, maybe if you're a little bit savvy with short form content, TikTok is always helpful. I reposted some of my content that I posted on Instagram on TikTok, and I already got clients from TikTok, which to me is mind-blowing. I never thought that would happen. So you can use TikTok, you can use Instagram, but I think something you should not neglect at all is to have a website. You know, it's easy to think that we own our social media accounts, but that's actually not true. Instagram can just take down your page at any time, and then what do? You don't have any business anymore, you lost all your pictures, you lost your followers. That can take a really big hit if you work in the service industry. So it's very important that you have a website, something that you actually own, and no one can take it down. There people can find and see all of your work, they can see where you're working from, they can see how they can make appointments, so that is vital. I cannot stress that enough. The next thing you should do, and it's something that I do to this day, is to go to workshops and conventions that you deem valuable and that could really teach you something. I say this because in the beginning I took a course that wasn't valuable at all. It cost me a lot of money and I feel like I didn't learn anything. And that's because the people who were organizing this workshop just thought about the money. They weren't interested in actually teaching you something. And that is actually becoming, unfortunately, more and more common these days. A lot of people want to become tattoo artists, and there are a lot of people who want to exploit that. So just be mindful and pay attention that the workshop, the course, the convention, anything at all is being organized by serious people and by people that you actually admire and can bring you some value. I go to workshops whenever I have the time and honestly the money to pay for them, because tattoo workshops are expensive. But I go to these workshops by artists that maybe have the same amount of experience than me, a lot more experience than me. I have found that these experiences are very valuable and well worth the money that you're paying for them. The next one is a simple but such an important tip. Look out for the way that studios want to be contacted. Ideally, you should just go in person. I went in person to every single tattoo shop, I think, in my city when I was looking for an apprenticeship. Today, I'm a studio owner, and actually it's a private studio. We don't take walk-ins, you know, we're inside the building, so there's not even a window for people to see inside. So I accept the apprenticeship applications only through email. So, you know, just go to the shop's website, try to figure out how they want to be contacted. If it's not clear the way they want to be contacted, just send them an email and ask, do you prefer to receive my portfolio online, or do you prefer for me to go to the studio in person and talk to you guys? And then you can start from there. But never ever just send a DM saying, oh, I want to find an apprenticeship, how can I do it, are you available? Don't do that. Firstly, tattoo artists get a lot of DMs. So in this case, it might actually just get, buried by a whole lot of messages, and it might never get read. Tattoo artists get a lot of messages on Instagram. So best case scenario, it won't get read. Worst case scenario, they will think you're rude by sending them just a random message like, hey bro, can I get an apprenticeship? No, don't do that, please. That's so awful. My last tip is, it will take time. And I know it's hard to hear this, but you have to be patient. And you might get a lot of no's. That happened to me. I think I got 10 no's just because they weren't accepting apprentices, or they didn't think that I was good enough. That actually happened. People told me, I don't think you're good enough to be a tattoo artist. So you get a lot of rejection. And unfortunately, that's normal. It's an oversaturated market. But just don't give up. The important thing when you get rejected is to just try to ask for feedback. And if they're rude, they're just rude. You don't want their advice anyway. But if it's someone that just tells you, oh, I just cannot accept apprentices right now, just, try to ask them for comment or criticism, constructive criticism even. Ask them, oh, what do you think of my work? Where do you think I could get better? Do you think my presentation was good? What do you think I should improve on? Just get that advice. Anywhere you can get advice and information from, that's going to be great. So, just do that, and I think everything will work out just fine for you. I hope that this video could be at least a little bit helpful to you, and I wish you all the best in your tattoo artist journey. If you want to help support my channel, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'll see you on the next video. Bye!